Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Through Black and White Eyes for the match review and match preview, all in one go. I am waiting for Charles, but he might be having difficulties because I have sent him the link, and I don't know if it's working properly. So we're just about to find out. No, it's definitely the right link because I've just checked it myself, and hopefully Dan might make it. I've just sent him the link as well. Which would be nice. Superfan Dan, because he's doing a long trip. Where's he going to? A long trip to LA. He says I could join 3 minutes before the start of the show. But we know why we're here. You know it was a disappointing result. So this is your chance to have your say, get it out in the open. Please try and keep it respectful and not deluded. We're not here for that sort of stuff. So, but please hit the subscribe button if you enjoy the show. Please consider becoming a member. Link is at the top of the chat. We do have amazing sponsors, Diacro, Bars 20 for 20% off all their gear. And this is the prize I was talking about. Dan Burn worn match boots signed. It's a mouth teaser, that one, isn't it? That's the competition that's open at the moment. Link is in the description. Get your tickets as quickly as you can. Charles has made it. Fantastic. And I'll get him in very soon. And don't forget, we've teamed up with Sue and Just Giving to raise money for the Stanley Deaf Club, which Kieran is a part of. And a lot of those children that you saw at the game against Spurs, who were absolutely phenomenal, we're raising money for them. So please give generously if you can. And remember, every single penny of profit from this month is going to that charity. So far, we're about £200. We want to make it more. So if you want to donate to the channel, it is going to go to them. But please just go to Just Giving and just donate to them instead, because that means the YouTube won't be taking any money off it. Right. Last night's game. Let's bring Charles in. Good evening, Charles. Very dark there.
Yeah, it is. I'm not sure why.
You not paid your electricity bill.
Weird.
Good job there weren't red lights. Roxanne. How are you, my friend?
All good. Yeah, I just got back from a trip. Been in South Africa actually this morning.
Oh, very nice.
So I just got back. So
that's amazing. Superfan Dan has made it. We have royalty in the house. Royalty is in the house. He's in the car, but he's in the house. Superfan Dan. What up, lads? I love it.
How are you?
I am very good. How are you?
I'm all right.
Hi.
Cruising along, Highway 101.
Highway 101. I'm sure that's a famous one in songs, isn't it?
Yeah. Southbound, heading to LA.
Oh, very nice. Are you playing there, are you?
Monterey Bay plays there a Saturday night, but I'm going to meet up with the Toon Army Orange County on Saturday morning at Dos Amigos Mexican Cantina to watch the Sheffield United match.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Videos, pictures, the lot. Can't wait to see them.
I will.
All right, Dan. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
It's brilliant. I love it.
The screen is really small, so I can't see.
I had a feeling. Don't worry. I'll keep you up to date.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm smiling. We got absolutely thrashed last night. But I'm happy because you two were on the show and I'm just going to have a good laugh.
Yeah.
Right, let's try and get into it. There's Palace's lineup. I mean, obviously Eze is the big threat. There was no Elise, so I was just rubbing my hands and licking my lips a little bit, thinking, "Oh, I expected both of them to be playing, and they weren't." So I was quite excited and happy about that. Our lineup, I expected this. I expected us to play 3-4-3. I expected us to go unchanged, especially since Tino failed a late fitness test. I was very happy. Charles, were you happy after the Spurs performance, playing the same formation, thinking, it was a perfect away performance at home, so let's just do it again?
You would think so, wouldn't you? I mean, the team sheet looked all right. Obviously, we want to see Tino playing.
We do.
we're coming out to later. He's not fit, and maybe Lewis Hall as well. But yeah, I mean, the team sheet, also the Tottenham game. I think, well, you wouldn't see it coming anyway.
No, definitely not. Dan, you've disappeared, but I think we can still hear you. What did you make of the team sheets? Were you happy?
I was confused as to why we were given the same lineup as beat Spurs. I know that Howe has a tendency to stick with a formation or stick with a starting 11 that won the last match, but at the same time you had 10 days to figure out something better, and I was hoping.
I think it goes down to personnel again, because I think he would have changed the formation had Tino pass fit. But he didn't, and you could tell because he was reluctant to bring him on off the bench later on in the game, wasn't he? We'll come to the game very soon. It was this slipped past me. Elliot Anderson made his 50th appearance for the club last night, so congratulations to him. We hope he puts another 0 on the end of that. It means he would have had a fantastic career if he does. I was very skeptical of Anderson after seeing his pre-season. I thought, yes, we've got a very good player on our hands, and then it just didn't transist into the Premier League form. But he is starting to show a glimpse of it, isn't he, Dan? Now, you saw him live at the Super Series. You were very impressed. It's just we need to see that side of him, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said this in shows past. Yes, he had a fantastic game against Brighton in New Jersey. Saw him score 2 goals. He has been he's exciting to watch, especially when it comes off the bench. But these last few games where he started, like I said, he's put on a bit of muscle, and he's kind of a battering ram. I said when he's on the pitch, I've kind of forgotten that Joe Linton is missing, simply because he's been that effective. But not so much yesterday.
I think he needs to get the monkey off his back of a Premier League goal.
Yes, he should have had one against Forest, shouldn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Season. That was perfectly good goal disallowed, but it's probably hanging over him. And I think once he scores his first one, he's allowed to score his first one and then cheat him out of one. There'll be several coming.
I think so. I think he's got to. I mean, he scored goals at I know it's Bristol Rovers, but he's still got to do it. He's still got to put the ball in the net, get in the positions that he gets into, and surely it's going to come from him. Potentially could have scored probably our only chance last night with that header, which we'll come to a little bit later on. But let's talk about the first half, or the non-existent first half from a Newcastle United point of view. The only chance I remotely remember, and it didn't even class as a shot, was when Isaac ran through on goal. Bruno played that lovely ball over the top, headed it down. He was running one-on-one with the keeper, but it sort of was a 50-50 collision, wasn't it, in the end? It was a great tackle from the keeper, and that's all she wrote for us in the first half, wasn't it, Charles?
Yeah, to be honest, I thought that could have been a penalty, to be honest. I don't know.
I think it was just one of those meaty challenges you see in the middle of the park, to be honest with you.
Yeah. He took them out a little bit, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to have seen it given. But yeah, the form he's on, you would have banked the score, wouldn't you? You put your mortgage on it.
I think he would have. He just got there a split second before him, but it was that tight, wasn't it, Dan? It was like one of those where you hit the ball both at the same time, and that's why the force is sent Isaac flying, and the keeper hurt himself as well at the same time. It was just one of those meaty 50-50s, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think I was already celebrating. I think I got a bit
I was thinking, oh, here we go, and then bang, he got nailed. Danny, you still with us? Nope, he's froze. That's a great pause. I love it. Yeah, we totally lost momentum after that defeat yesterday. But credit where credit's due, Charles. I mean, Palace in the first half, they beat us at our own game, didn't they? The high press.
And I think they wanted. I don't know that we'll probably talk about throughout the match, but I think they wanted it more.
Do you think?
That's what it looked like. Yeah.
See, a lot of people are giving me grief for saying that because I said we didn't turn up.
Yeah,
It felt like we didn't turn up.
It's like new manager bounce. The timing was bad. You know, they just had a good result, and then they looked right. They looked up for it. And we didn't. So I think it's as simple as that. And I mean, I can't remember the last time Eddie Howe laid into his players as much as he did.
Which is good to see in a way, because obviously, you know, he set out a game plan. He wanted it to work. He was expecting more from the players, but it just wasn't happening, was it?
Yeah, well, it was looking a bit like the Fulham game, you know, when we weren't in it, and then who was it? Was Bruno? He got injured, and there was, you know, he had a chance.
Dubravka went down, didn't he? Dubravka
was
sat on his backside twice, and they had a chance to go to the touchline.
Fulham, yeah. But this time it was Bruno got injured, and there was a bit of a timeout.
Oh yes, they had a little timeout, didn't they? Yeah.
So I thought that was okay. We're going to reset. We got Fulham again, but it got a little bit better. But the second half
didn't get much better, did it? I mean, the first 5 minutes was probably all she wrote for us, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah.
I was very, very disappointed. Very, very disappointed. I'm trying to think of whether they really challenged us in the first half as well, though. Dubravka wasn't really tested. He was tested from long range, but every single shot was straight at him. They had an offside one where Matete smashed off the crossbar, which Dubravka saved and pushed it into the corner, if you can remember that. But that was offside, so it didn't really count. But there was never really a clear-cut chance, was there, for them? And that's why I was still hopeful it was going to be very much like the Fulham game with Bruno popping up and scoring a winner, nicking it 1-0. We were still in the game, weren't we? But I don't know. I can't sum up that first half other than it was just absolutely diabolical.
I think you know that's what we're missing is the fullbacks, isn't it? They're so critical. We haven't got Trippier, you haven't got Remento. Hall wasn't playing. He probably was better. We would be better off starting with him. In hindsight,
was he fit enough? That's the thing. This was the thing with the team that was picked last night, is like who was fit and who wasn't.
And Target, we've been paying $100,000 a week, and what's he played? 3 or 4 games all season?
He's got a hamstring injury again, hasn't he?
Yeah. So those fullbacks are so important, and we haven't got that. The mid, but it was a midfielder. They couldn't keep the ball.
No. They couldn't. Could they? I mean, this is how bad we were in the first half. Statistics: expected XG 0.01.
And theirs? Do we know what theirs was?
0.24, and that's why I mean, I've just checked these stats out now before after I had this conversation about the fact, because they only had 3 shots and 3 shots off target in total. They had 9 shots in total, 3 on, 3 off, and a couple of blocked ones, but they never really.
There were a few long range ones. I've seen it. He was
straight at Dubravka, weren't they? They tried one from a quick free kick that didn't work.
Yeah, it looked like he didn't rate Dubravka at all. Some of those shots, he obviously thinks he's really bad. You know.
Well, they did try and catch him out, but literally. That's how bad both teams were in front of goal, really. Our expected XG was 0.01, which it's the lowest you can get. You know, I don't think you can get any. Well, you can have no shots at all, I suppose. But we had 1 shot, and it was off target, and that was it. So they definitely didn't count the Isaac one as a shot. I mean, Eze had a decent shot, which just went wide, which he hit really well on the edge of the box. Anderson had one on the turn when who was it? Shaw blocked it, but I think that was offside as well.
Yeah, he looked good, by the way. Anderson. Yeah, I've always rated him. I thought he was a good squad player. He's a bit of a younger version of Shaw.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, in our squad, he would definitely add to us.
It's a good little conversation point there, because Anderson is someone we were openly chasing. And we still might be, because we need centre backs. We spoke to Steve, who's a Palace fan. He's saying 40 million for him. I can't see us spending 40 million for a centre back, potentially on Anderson, particularly. I would say 30.
Yeah, maybe even 35. I don't know. He's a good player, definitely. Every time I've watched him, I thought
What is he, 28, 29 now?
That's a good question. I'm going to find out for you.
Yeah.
I don't know about paying 35 million, 38 million for a 29-year-old center back. But then again,
27.
Go on, 27. All right.
He's 28 on the 31st of May, so he'll be 28 this year.
Well, but I mean, if he goes on to have 4 years like Fabian Schär has, then I guess I'd take that.
10 million a season if you pay 40.
5 million these days.
That's the going rate.
Yeah.
It's not 80 million like Harry Maguire. What has that got? So
31 million is what he's rated.
You know.
I have a
on SofaScore.
What was that you said, guys?
I'm saying he's rated at 31 million on SofaScore. So on the stats wise and what he's done this season, they've rated him as a 31 million pound player. So which what I would say 30 million, definitely.
Yeah.
Then I would definitely be talking to Palace. But I would also be talking them to get Eze as well.
Yeah. He was the best player on the pitch, wasn't he?
He was absolutely fantastic. He only got a 7.5, which is incredible for somebody who ran the show, and it was so dangerous going forward. So Eze at the moment, he's 25. He's 26 this year in June. They rate him at 43.9 million. He's probably going to fetch about 60, I reckon, if you want to go for him, to be honest with you. I would 100% go for him.
What's his contract situation like? I mean,
I don't know. It doesn't tell you on there what his contract is. As far as I'm aware, him and Elise signed 5-year contracts, I think. So they've got 4 years left on them. So it's going to be a big fee. So, yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah, go on.
Has Bruno ever had a good game after he's bleached his head?
Yes.
I mean, go back and look. Immediately after, when he enters the pitch with a platinum blonde, I don't recall him having ever a fantastic match when it was fresh. Give him 2 weeks of having it, and then it's starting to, you get into frosted tip land, and then he starts to firm up again. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's like something bleaches his head, and then he's not fantastic. But he was obviously our best player yesterday. Yeah,
I mean, in the first half, there was only him and Isak that really came out with, probably a 5 or a 6. Everybody else was probably a 4 or a 3. I mean, it was terrible, wasn't it? And like I say, the stats tell you 1 shot off target in the whole first half is just absolutely disgraceful for us. For a team that's got one of the highest expected XGs in the Premier League, to actually have 0.01 in the first half is just terrible. Let's just talk about the second half quickly, and then we'll talk about the tactics and what we think went wrong. But Matete scores after 55 minutes. It's such a poor goal to give away. Was there a foul in the build-up? VAR didn't even look at it because apparently the phaser play was too far back. I thought the referee was poor last night. But the one thing that really frustrated me most about the goal was Dan Burn got sucked into an area where he didn't need to be. So it was a 1-2. The ball got played into AU, where Schär was starting to close down, and then Dan Burn was on top of Schär by the time AU got the ball. And all he had to do was knock it back to his mate. That was the whole centre-back taken out of the game. And I said goal before he even hit it. I just went, for fuck's sake, that's 1-0. And then he hit the back of the net. And I was just like, he could see it. It was just going to happen. But for me, Dan Burns massively at fault, Dan, for that goal. Because, he's just got sucked in, hasn't he, into no man's land when there was no need for it.
Would Pope have done more?
No, not Pope. Dan Burns, the one who's at fault.
Yeah, I know. But
would he have done that? I don't think he's saving that. Nah.
Yeah.
No. I think the pass is too cute, perfectly weighted from Ayew. I don't think he gets anywhere near it. If he does, it's one of the saves of the season, which, Popey can pull out of the bag. But you've got to look at what we've got on the pitch right now. And if Dan Burn just holds his position at centre-back, marking Matete, he doesn't get that chance.
Yeah. That was poor.
It's just
no question.
very frustrating.
Yeah.
And then even the second goal on 88 minutes, which killed the game, another foul in midfield, not given, on Anderson. I think someone went in from behind him and knocked him over. Referee played advantage to Palace. He just played on. And then again, it was just two simple passes into the box, and then Matete gets a free shot on goal and he scores. Game over. And it felt like it was schoolboy defending, Charles. That's what it felt like to me.
It did, but they're not getting much protection on it from the midfield. I mean, was Anderson actually playing apart from like falling over in the penalty area at one point when he probably should have shot?
That was Longstaff.
Longstaff. Sorry, I meant Longstaff. Sorry. Was Longstaff actually playing? He seems invisible at the moment, and I know people say he's carrying an injury and he's doing it for the team, but yeah.
But apparently not anymore. Apparently he's fully.
No, apparently he's meant to be injury free now.
His confidence is
But you're right. You're right, Charles. He's been invisible for the last couple of matches, and that's been the criticism. But who do you have to replace him with? Do you take him off and put a Joe White on? Do you play Lewis Hall in midfield? And who do you play on the left? Do we dare put Paul Dummett out there?
Hell no.
No.
It's a no-win situation, isn't it? He's got to play really until
Joe Linton's on the grass. We're here.
Hopefully, yes.
Not that far away.
This one frustrates me a little bit, and I know Leslie doesn't realise it frustrates me, but both teams played on the same pitch. So I don't care how much the water it, both players have got to put up with it. Both sides have got to put up with it. Yes, they did overwater the pitch potentially, but they're the home team. They can do what they want. It's like when teams come to St James's Park, we can do what we want to our pitch. Personally, I would like to see us completely dry our pitch out when we're playing Man City and stop their slick passing and make it hard for them. But we don't. We try and match them and play the same sort of style of football, which we end up getting beat. You've got to think outside the box sometimes, and that's what Palace did last night. They said, we're fast at passing the ball. We've got our confidence up. We're at home. This new manager they've got is brilliant. And he said, right, we're watering the pitch and we're playing to our advantage, and we'll take the risks. And they did. They were fantastic. I'm not taking anything away from Crystal Palace. They were fantastic. I'm just looking at our performance, Dan, and again, there's two things that stand out. We didn't match their intensity, their aggression, and I also thought the referee was absolutely shocking last night as well. And I'm not blaming the ref for the result. I'm still blaming our players and the way we turned up, but the referee was terrible.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that Newcastle didn't get the memo that there was a match last night.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
They didn't show the players were wearing jerseys and numbers that we recognized, but I didn't recognize that team.
No. I think we weren't up for it, and they're right on it. They got a new manager. They're just looking at it. I mean, they stuffed West Ham 5-2.
Yeah, they did.
They won at Anfield the match before that.
Yeah.
So they're bang on form, so maybe we shouldn't be so surprised.
Everton beat Liverpool last night too. I mean, come on.
I don't think we were surprised, to be fair. We all said in our pre-match build-up, our little video that we do, that we were all expecting a tough game and we were all hoping we'd come out on the right side of it. But it was the manner of the defeat that really annoyed me. I don't mind losing when we're going toe-to-toe, but we just didn't go toe-to-toe at all with Palace last night. And that's what really, really frustrated me the most. The second half statistics...
Given that we had more time, and given that we had more time.
Yeah, we had a week and a half, it's a nightmare. And I agree with you, Baz. They won. End of story, and our performance was poor. Yeah, it really was. The second half stats sort of improved a little bit. I don't know how we had 50% possession of the ball because we got battered. We had 6 shots, 2 off target. They had 11, 4 on target. Taking the overall percentage of shots they had with 20 with 7 on target, and we had 7 all night and 2 on target. It was just not a Newcastle performance for me. And congratulations to Palace. They won the game comfortably. Eddie Howe's coming to criticism again, which really frustrates me. Yes, you can criticise the performance and what's happened, but all this Eddie Howe out stuff because of one defeat does my head in.
I think some people do it for clicks. I don't quite understand.
Oh, they must do. But Charles, I do want to say, though, I was very disappointed that he didn't change things up at half-time, personally, when we saw how bad that first half was. Was he rollicking the players and saying, go out and turn it around and I'm going to give you the opportunity to do it, or should he have been ruthless?
Probably a bit earlier. You're right. I think that is the sort of criticism that he's getting a lot, that he's not quick enough to make those changes.
Yeah.
But my question is, what change would you have made at halftime?
So if he was fit enough, I would have brung Tino on. Hall could definitely have played 45 minutes. I would have went back to our 4-3-3 formation, to be honest with you. I thought Murphy was shocking last night, and Murphy does this. He has a couple of good games. Everyone starts thinking, oh yeah, Murphy's really good, and then he throws in a stinker like this, and he shows potentially the worst side of his levels. I mean, he's not a right back, which is fair play, but it worked against Spurs. It just didn't work last night. So even if we didn't make any personnel change, I would have made a tactical change straight away at halftime and said we're going back to our 4-3-3.
I mean, Gordon was quiet unusually. I don't know. If it probably was seen the interview. What a phenomenal interview, by the way, on the overlap.
Yeah,
that is a must watch. Quite a, he really thinks about the game, and we got a serious player. What a signing!
Shadow of a doubt. It's a very intelligent football player, football brain.
What I saw lots of criticism last night was that he was too quiet on the right, and Howe should have switched him and Barnes, put him on his natural left, and let Barnes play out wide right and see if he could make up the difference.
Yeah, because what I noticed quite a lot in the first half in particular was Gordon was getting frustrated and he ended up in the middle of the park, and then we all ended up left-sided full. Yeah, and then on the right side we were left with Kraft and Murphy, and I was thinking, well, this is not how the tactics are meant to work. So it was frustrating. I would have changed things at the half-time. I don't know what, like you said, because of injuries, we don't know the players as well as Eddie Howe does. We just see them sitting on the bench and we think, right, you should be used. But we don't know whether they were there as an emergency, I suppose. But Lewis Hall.
Throw Karius up front.
Yeah. Why not? The guy's a god.
Yep.
I think that flick from Barnes, which was supposed to be for Gordon, that sort of summed up the whole.
Yeah, the little back heel that had no pace on it, which he probably should have squared it to Isak, because he had the channel for the pass to be made. That was very frustrating that he chose that option, and then it was a poor pass. But the writing was on the wall early. I'll tell you another thing I'm frustrated with, Charles, is I'm frustrated that people are getting on the back of Harvey Barnes again after one average performance, poor performance. Straight away, shouldn't have spent that money on him, should have spent it elsewhere. He's not good enough, yet he's got one of the best goals per minute ratio in the Newcastle team.
Yeah, of course. I mean, not just with Newcastle, even with Leicester, it's 10 almost every season. He's guaranteed goals. He's a top player, no doubt about it. I mean, he's not Gordon, of course, and he's not Isak, but he's still a top. He's still a top player, and
of course he is.
He strengthens our squad no end. So,
and he'll come good. I mean, Gordon was fantastic his first half season with us, and Barnes has been out most of the season. So, I think we get a decent preseason with him, and things really start to fly coming next season. So I think Barnes will come good. It'll be all right.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that a lot of people are missing out or are missing about his game is that he's probably one of the only players in our team who can actually shoot from distance.
Yep.
Yeah. I know that sounds weird when you talk about professional footballers, but Harvey Barnes from distance is probably our most lethal attacking player. I don't see Isak scoring from distance. I don't see Gordon really scoring from distance. Bruno, no. Yeah, Cher can hit one every now and again, but I wouldn't say Cher was lethal. I mean, look at the way Barnes took that one against. Yeah, look at the way he took the one against West Ham and the one against Luton as well. He's, aftershot just because you fancy him, Leslie. Come on. But Barnes is the sort of person who can hit a ball right and left foot. And it's very rare to get a player like that sometimes. So, yes, he might not be a St. Maximin where he beats 2 or 3 men. He'll still run at players. He'll still get to the bar line. He'll still do the right thing. And he will also shoot from distance, which, let's face it, how often did we see ASM score from distance for Newcastle? Very rarely.
No, but I mean,
very rarely.
A great entertainer, but output wasn't there.
Exactly. Yeah. Right, let's move on and have a little bit of a laugh. This really made me chuckle today. This is Matt Ritchie, who passed his test, his LGV. Basically, he can drive a lorry. I don't know whether he's having money problems or what, but I think it's because he has one himself and he has to be able to have a different license to be able to drive it so he can do his stuff. But this made me giggle when I saw it. I was thinking it could be that the club have made him do it so he can prank a few fans or something like that. They've been doing stupid things like that recently, haven't they? We've seen Murphy dress up with something as well. So this is what Eddie Howe said after the game as well. We'll just put this in. It's very disappointing from the high of Spurs to the low of tonight. We started well for 2 minutes. That was it, 2 minutes. And then it unravelled into an uncomfortable feeling. We give the ball away too much and seemed reluctant to shoot around their goal. That baffled me. None of our game was in a good place. So, I mean, he was very critical. Now, Eddie Howe is not normally very critical, is he, after a game? He normally says, oh, yeah, we did this well, we did that well. But it's nice to see him come out when we know it's been poor and call a spade a spade.
I think what was disappointing about it is, it was an opportunity to at least keep the pressure on Man United.
Yes, they're 3 points ahead of us now again, which is frustrating.
It's still in our hands.
Of course it is.
We could
beat
go
them at Old Trafford.
And
I think we will beat them at Old Trafford.
Well, we should have a few players back, hopefully, as well. So,
fingers crossed. Right, that's put to bed that. It's gone on a little bit longer than I thought it would. But let's have a look at Saturday's game, because Saturday, I mean, let's face it, it's a very Newcastle thing to do, to draw on Saturday, then go away to Burnley and absolutely spank them, and go to Old Trafford and spank them, but get a point against Sheffield United. But let's hope that doesn't happen. This is how Sheffield United lined up against Man United. They played a 3-5-2 at Old Trafford, which is a very dangerous formation. But I'm guessing it probably goes into a 5-3-2 when they're out of the ball. I haven't seen the game last night. They were winning. They were 1-0 up, then 2-1 up, then got beat 4-2. I mean, there's only really Brenton Diaz, who I know well, at Sheffield United. Holgate is obviously on loan from Everton. But other than that, really, Dan, they haven't strengthened into a Premier League side this year, have they? It was like, we're going to go up, but we know we're going to go straight back down again.
Yeah, listen.
And bringing in Chris Wilder again, after sacking him last season or the season before, well, let's get ready for the drop, because Chris will bring us back up again. They haven't learned their lesson, and they're rooted to the bottom. That's it. This should be an easy 3 points at home, but like you said, this could be a very Newcastle thing. Lose to Palace at their place, and then come back home and hang a 0 or only take a point from a relegation team. So who knows?
I can't see us not beating them. They are bad. They are really bad.
Yeah, but we've said this about other teams at home. Luton, Forest. Games that we should win, we seem to struggle in. Games that we think we're going to struggle in, we end up spanking them, like the Spurs game. And Chelsea at home. And for some reason, the lower league teams, they seem to raise their game against us at St James's Park, and they make it difficult for us to break them down. I mean,
generally speaking, I think I'm right, but I think this team is so bad. No bad. But Burnley is a much tougher game because they've got a lot to play for. A lot to play for. I mean, just Sheffield United, as far as I'm concerned, are already gone.
oh yeah, they're definitely gone.
But Burnley, they're still. If you look at the table, still. I mean, it's a must-win game for them. So they're going to be battling for their lives with the home crowd there. That's a much tougher game.
Oh, yeah, it is. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we got our highest ever away win in the Premier League against Sheffield United when we had 8 different scorers as well, and no own goals included in that, which Liverpool or Arsenal tried to steal from us. But we got 8 different scorers, and it was an incredible game. This is how we lined up last night. So let's just have a quick chat about both of you. I'll come to Dan first. What changes would you make?
If Tino is fitter,
I think Tino will be
than he
fit
was
enough to
last
play
night,
because I think he failed a fitness test, but I think he'll be fit enough to play by the weekend.
I think we start Tino on the right, Hall on the left, Byrne and Cher in the middle.
So we're dropping Murphy.
And midfield 3 picks itself. Yeah. And I would say start with the same 3 up front. What did you think of Wilson last night? Ring rusty?
Non-existent because of the style of play of not being able to get the ball in dangerous areas to him.
I mean, is it possible that we play Gordon on the right, Isak on the left, and start Wilson? And bring Barnes off the bench?
Could do. I mean, it is an option.
That's a good call, actually. Because
that's what I would do.
It's so important to have a decent bench, and as an impact player, that would make a big difference. I think Well,
Wilson could be your impact player as well, though, because he'd be coming off the bench himself, won't he? So
I say you give Wilson the first 45, give him the first half, to make a difference.
Good call.
And if he's not making a difference, then you hook him at halftime and you put Barnes on and move Isak to the 9.
I'd like to see Lewis start. I don't think Livramento's fit enough to start the first game. He said, only an emergency. Well, if it's only an emergency, 3 days later you're going to start. I don't think so.
He failed a late fitness test to start the game, so he was good enough to be on the bench. But I don't think Howe wanted to use him last night because I think he had the weekend in his mind for him potentially, and I think he wanted to play free at the back last night.
So then you got Kraft.
Yeah, well, Kraft will play right back instead of.
So then you got Kraft at right back. It can't be Murphy.
No, definitely not. I mean,
it can't be Murphy.
He had a poor game last night.
That's what I would do. I would start Wilson and Isak and Gordon up front, just for some variety, and then you have Barnes in reserve.
Right. The only reason why I don't like that is because I've got money on Isak to be top goal scorer, and I want to see him as a number 9.
I mean, Sean Longstaff's playing so badly right now. Would it not be better to put Murphy there?
No, not Murphy in centre midfield. No,
I've seen him play midfield before. He hasn't been that bad. But...
Yeah, but do you not see his first touch last night? Your first touch has got to be on point if you want to play in midfield. And for me, Murphy does not have that touch. He looked scared last night when he was on the ball. I think Gordon could play in the midfield. I think he's done it for Everton.
I think Isak's playing midfield pretty well. Sometimes he's dropped back and he's looked pretty good. I mean, Isak's good.
Yeah, it's more of a 10 though, isn't he? I suppose when he does that. So I mean, we could play 4-4-2 potentially.
It just shows what we actually got so few options. That's the reality of it.
Yeah. And I mean, Eddie Howe likes Longstaff for whatever he sees in him. I didn't see much of it last night. I have defended him because he does a lot of the dirty work, but he's lost his confidence for me, and I think he needs pulled out of the team and given a rest, let him recharge his batteries, and then go again. We haven't even covered the penalty last night, but I don't want to talk about it. The referee was shocking.
I thought it was a penalty
as well because he's running and then he's had his body twisted from the pull. Even the commentators were saying this will get overturned, and it didn't. So that just tells you how much of a penalty it was. And if Diego Jota's penalty of Martin Dubravka's little touch is given as a penalty. How can you not give that one last night as a penalty? It's as simple. It's that plain as day, isn't it?
No consistency.
Yeah, no consistency,
There's
at all.
We probably would have gone on to win it, you know, just a change of momentum. That could have been.
Well, yeah, it would have been 1-1 potentially. Yeah, well, I don't know. We were playing that badly. We might have scored it. It might have held on to 1-1 maybe.
Was the criticism was that Longstaff took too long to go down?
Yeah, did he? I mean, you could tell his body was twisted straight away. It's just whether I don't know. Should he have gone down? I don't know. Maybe if he tried to stay on his feet and tried to get a shot off and he was impeded, maybe they would look at it that way because of that. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I've given up with refereeing now.
And then the criticism from Hal last night with his comments when he said we were good for 2 minutes. There was lots of criticism saying that was a very Brucey thing to say.
I think Brucey would have said, I thought we were great for 88 minutes and not for 2. You know what he was like. But looking at the game on Saturday, the win probability is 79% Newcastle, 13% a draw, 8% Sheffield United. So it is literally all one-way traffic.
I honestly can't see anything other than 3 points. I can't see it.
I hope you're right, but again, after the performance last night, if we turn up like that again,
yeah,
do you know what I mean?
I don't think the crowd will allow it.
I would hope so. We would have thought the away crowd wouldn't allow it last night either because they were packed. Newcastle have won 7 of the last 8 league games against Sheffield United, lost 1, which was a 1-0 away loss in 2021 in January. Sheffield United have lost 3 of their 4 Premier League away games against Newcastle, failing to score in each defeat. The exception was a 1-0 victory under Neil Warnock in November 2006. You know those loads of probabilities. I hate it. Newcastle beat Sheffield United 8-0 in the reverse fixture of Bramall Lane. The most goals they've ever scored against an opponent in a single Premier League campaign is 10. Doing so against the Blades rivals Sheffield Wednesday in 1999-2000. I forgot about that. That's when Shearer scored 5, wasn't it?
Yep.
But the Bramall Lane one was the best away record. Newcastle lost none of their 8 Premier League home games against promoted sides under Eddie Howe. 1 3, drawn 5. There's that statistic again. You know, only 1 3, drawn 5 of them. That's terrible for me. With their last such defeat coming against Leeds, that was when Steve Bruce was in charge. Newcastle have scored all 17 of their Premier League home games this season with their 43 goals in total. Their most at St James's Park on the top flight campaign since 1996-97, where we scored 54 at home. So we're getting close to catching that. We might actually catch it on Saturday if we can repeat the performance of the away game. Newcastle have lost.
At home, I hope so.
Yeah, it'd be nice, wouldn't it? Newcastle have lost just 1 of their 25 Premier League games, kicking off at 3 p.m. on a Saturday. 1-16, drawn 8, going down 1-0 at Luton earlier in the season. At home, the Magpies are unbeaten in 17 with 10 wins, 7 draws since a 3-0 loss to Chelsea in October 2021. We don't really get 3 p.m. kickoffs much these days. That's why that stat is it's still a very good stat, though, isn't it? 25 games unbeaten. I think that's fantastic. Well, 25 and 1 loss since 2021. Sheffield United have lost 16 of their 18 Premier League away games played on a Saturday, though the expectations come across that 3 such matches, 3-1 v Luton and 2-2 v Bournemouth. So, I mean, everything is pointing to a Newcastle win. Alexander Isak has scored in each of his last 6 Premier League home games with only Andy Cole 8 in 1993-94 and Alan Shearer 15 in 1996-97, netting him more consecutively for Newcastle in the competition. So he's on a. I mean, I would love him to be the Golden Boot. Anthony Gordon is on fire for us.
So if he scores twice tomorrow or on Saturday, he'll equal Andy Cole.
If he just scores once, he'll equal him amount of goals. But we're talking about how many consecutive games in a row he scored.
Right.
So yeah, but he can score 2. It'd be nice to get a hat trick. We haven't seen a hat trick since Ayoze Perez against Southampton.
Agreed.
That's an incredible stat.
Yeah, we need a hat trick.
When you see
He's
how
had a
well we've been
chance.
playing.
Yeah, he's had chances. He's had a lot of braces, hasn't he?
That's amazing. We've been playing so well for basically for a couple of years now, and we haven't had a hat trick.
No,
That's
crazy, isn't it? Came close a few times, but
Charles, we haven't had a striker on the pitch a lot of times.
Yeah.
No.
And when we do have them, they're normally coming back from injury and the net once or twice, and then they're going off to reserve them, basically.
Well,
keep them fresh.
Exactly.
I think Wilson's probably had 2 and they take him off to make
Yeah.
sure they're injured. That's probably what it is.
It is. Our last few games, so obviously we beat Spurs, we beat Fulham, we drew with Everton, we beat West Ham, and then we lost to Man City. So that's the home guide. I don't know what that one is. Form guide. That doesn't seem right to me because they're missing the game from last night. This must have been taken before last night updated. Last 3 fixtures against Sheffield United, won 8-0, won 1-0, lost 1-0, which is quite incredible. Head-to-head record, 4 wins to Newcastle, no draws, 1 win to Sheffield United. Block shots, 124 to 88. I wonder what that one's for. But there's some good stats in there, some good stuff to get your teeth into if you're looking to build a bet and things like that. Sheffield United are probably likely not going to score against us, but there we go. I've just jinxed that as well.
If we beat Burnley, I would take that. You know, I think it's a given on Saturday. It's just I cannot see it. Honestly, cannot see anything other than 3 points. But if we beat Burnley, I'd say, well, Crystal Palace away, Burnley away, a win out of one of those 2, then we'll forget all about Crystal Palace.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. We hammer Sheffield United on Saturday, and the whole fan base is happy again. It's just the way social media works.
Yeah, true.
Like I had a lot of people on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it these days. It's quite funny when you get an email from X. It's actually, how did the Twitter response do? Like, well, you're not called Twitter anymore. You're X, so you need to update your emails, which I find quite funny. Yeah. But I got a lot of them saying, this is one of the most sensible takes I've seen on the football game. Like, I haven't criticised Eddie Howe. I haven't criticised, all that sort of stuff. I've just basically said what happened last night and just last night alone. And that's what we've got to just isolate it as, a bad performance, criticise what we saw, and then move on, which is what we're trying to do.
I mean, if you actually look at Craig Hope, I actually like Craig Hope a lot. I think he gets a lot of unfair criticism. I think he's quite a balanced journalist. Sometimes he doesn't say things that people want to hear.
He annoyed me when he did a video in the ground where he criticised Eddie Howe and the tactics, but he never asked him the questions or criticised him when he had the chance to. That's what the backstabbing sort of thing does. I don't like it. So yeah, all journalists are pricks. To be completely honest with you. Very quickly, hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying the show. Hit the thumbs up. Don't forget to become a member. All the profit this month is going to Kieran's Deaf Club, Stanley Deaf Club, with all those kids that you saw at the Spurs game. We're raising money for them. We teamed up with Sue. We forced her to do a Just Giving page. She was like, she thought she got took over a little bit. I was like, you've got to do it. We're going to raise money for them, and we are doing that. £200 is going from the channel so far to it. So that means it's £565 being raised for them. That is going to make a massive difference to their club and their lives to be able to go on little trips and stuff like that. And the reason why we're able to give the money is because Football Prizes, they give me £100 to plug their company. They've got Dan Byrne match worn signed boots raffle at the moment live. Their £100 is going to the charity. The £100 of profit we've made so far this month is going to the charity. That's how the £200 made up. But please check them out in the description, and also check out Diacro, who is an amazing family-run company in America. They do loads of great Newcastle stuff. They ship all over the world, and you can get 20% off as well. Sorry, Charles, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was just saying, I don't know, it's been covered already, but match of the day after the Tottenham game, they didn't even mention this whole.
Yeah, they were shocking.
That it defies any understanding belief.
Yeah, they got crucified for it as well from on Twitter. Everyone messaged Shearer and all them.
All they talked about was how bad Spurs were. We got no credit, and they didn't even, and they completely ignored the RNID initiative.
Yes,
it was shocking.
Absolutely staggering. Absolutely staggering.
Yeah, and considering we want this in all football grounds, never mind just Newcastle, all football grounds deserve to have this. And Newcastle are looking to rent shirts out on match day because they're very expensive to buy. So they're looking to do like a rental version of it for anybody who wants to try it. Mainly, I mean, I would love to try it just to see what it's like, put a blindfold on. I'll be like up. I'll be lifting it up all the time trying to watch the game. But there you go.
How much are they? Do you know about?
I have no idea, but they're very expensive. I can imagine they'd be very, very expensive. Probably looking at a good few £100. I mean, if a pro shirt without anything in it is 120 quid, you put a few vibrating sensors in them down the front, down the back, down the sides, and that you're probably looking at a good 500, 600 quid or something stupid like that. Yes, the BBC were terrible. Right, let's get your match predictions, and we've got a couple of little topics to discuss before we go. Charles, what are you going for on Saturday?
3-0.
Ooh. Go on, Dan.
I'll say 3-0, and it's an Isak hat trick.
Don't be teasing me. You're teasing me there. Do you know what it is? After everything I've just said about all this stats and statistics and all that sort of stuff, I think we're going to beat them 5-0. I'm going there. I'm going for a 5-0 win. It's about time as well. It's very rare I do that. 4-0, says Gary Ebaz. You'd have to wear noise-cancelling headphones, not a blindfold. Why do I keep saying blindfold for? I don't know why I keep saying that. I'm so stupid at times. Yes, you're right. I'll have to wear noise-cancelling headphones and then have the shirt on. But it's also for blind people as well, so they can get the sensation as well. So it's actually for both, but mainly for deaf people. Right, this keeps propping its head up. Dan Ashford taking Newcastle United to arbitration and bid to resolve Manchester United move. No agreement between the two clubs to break impasse, so set to be decided by a third party. Expected to start in May, take a number of weeks. First of all, Dan, you're a very sensible, intelligent man who works in business. Is this even a thing? Can he do this?
I think he's frustrated. He wants out of his Newcastle contract. He's tired of working in the back garden. He wants to join Ian Ratcliffe as soon as possible. But Ian Ratcliffe is not going to offer us anything more than $2 million. So we want 20. He's offering us 10% of that, and Ashworth's stuck in the middle. I think it's
worse than Ashley. This he seems to be worse than Ashley. Some of the things he's doing. Holy moly!
Agreed.
But the thing is, though, can Dan Ashworth actually go to arbitration for this? He's got a contract. He signed it.
Exactly.
So I don't understand how arbitration can step in.
Obviously, it depends if there's a clause in for arbitration in the contract. It's as simple as that. If there is an arbitration clause, then he can. It doesn't mean that we won't win, but if there would have to be a clause in the contract.
Right. But then at the end of the day, they'll have to pay something, and I guess the third party will then say, right, we're stepping in. It's in the contract to say we can step in. We're saying, Man United, if you want them and you want arbitration to step in, it's $5 million. Potentially, or something like that.
And I think either way, I can't see that they would rule that he would start before this transfer window's closed.
But he can't. I mean, when does the transfer window open? Is it June?
Well, no, it's May.
So they're saying this will start in May and then take a number of weeks.
Because there was a story that came out just a few minutes ago. I don't know whether it's true, but there's this 100 million clause for Bruno is only supposed to be from May to the end of
for a month. Yeah, May till June. I did see that.
Yeah.
And then after that, we have full control over whether he can leave or not and what the fee would be and all that sort of stuff. So
That's a very smart move if that's true.
well, it is, because
Yeah.
the reason why it's very smart is that it's making the business be done in the first month of the transfer window, giving us a chance to spend the money and improve our squad if Bruno does go, find a replacement, which is very difficult to do. If he was to leave late in the window, we'd be knackered.
$4 million house. He just bought a $4 million house, £4 million house. He's not going anywhere.
Nah, I don't think he is, but you just never know. It's a great scoreline. I hope it's even higher than that, Lorraine, and welcome to the chat. It's the first time I've seen your name pop up, so welcome to the channel. Last week in May to the beginning of last week in June, Bruno. Yeah. So I agree with Newcastle doing that, because if a Real Madrid comes knocking or a Barcelona comes knocking, who are we to stop Bruno from leaving and going to a club like that? I mean, at the end of the day, he's not a Newcastle fan, or never, until he came to Newcastle. So if he does want to go and win trophies in Spain, fair enough. I just don't want him going to Man City or Arsenal or Liverpool.
No, but apparently
don't want him in the.
It would make such a difference.
Yeah.
That's the critical thing for us.
Well, the thing is, if we sell him for 100 million on a 5-year contract to Barcelona, that could mean 500 million over 5 seasons for us to be able to spend.
Yeah.
I know it sounds daft. It's just the way it works, which is the next topic. So in the squad control rules with UEFA have introduced on the Premier League, looks set to introduce, the current gaps are maintained under the anchoring rules. They disappear. A club at the bottom, Forest, Villa, Newcastle, West Ham, if the owners want to go for it, they can. So we need to start supporting or wanting this to happen. So depending on what blend of rules eventually get the nod, anchoring may end up being a good thing for the Premier League's distributors. So basically Pete and our group has put on what this really looks like and what it means in numbers. So this really does help. So this 100 million, so it can be up to I'll try and explain it. This supposed, so 500 million is 100 million we can spend, and this is how it goes. So the 100 million can be spent in various ways, but when buying players, it can be extended as being reported as 500 million, which is the 100 million over 5 years. But as we know, not all contracts are 5 years, so some are shorter than others. So Chelsea took a massive gamble on the loophole, didn't they? 8-year contracts, which allowed them to spread the cost over 8 years on transfer fees. This is what this is allowing it to do, but to a maximum of 5 years. So player A could be 30 million in cash. That means you spend 30 million. Player B could be 5 million over 5 years, which will be 10 million per year. Player C could be 20 million over 2 years, which means you're paying 10 million a year. And then player D could be 25 million over 5 years, which actually only means 5 million a year. Player F could be 160 million over 5 years, which is 40 million a season. Total, that's 100 million, but you've spent 310 million. So we've still got 190 million spare.
I think it's all very good, but you still got the UEFA rules. So you're still going to be...
Yeah, but this is what UEFA have introduced, though. This is what it's staying with inside their rules.
Yeah, but
this doesn't include wages, though. That's the other side of it.
That's my point. You still got to worry about the wages. I think that's the biggest issue, the wages, rather than this.
But wages hopefully won't be too much of an issue when about 7 or 8 players get released off the books in the summer, because there's a lot of them who won't be getting contracts, and that frees up a lot of space. Target is the one we really need to get rid of. But again, our wages won't be as bad because of the Adidas sponsorship, because of the Champions League money, the Premier League money, the extra sponsorship that we haven't got yet that we will be getting, like training ground sponsors, training kit sponsors.
That's the most disappointing. I just don't understand why we have.
I think they're holding back on it. I really do. I think they're waiting for the perfect opportunity and the perfect amount. I think they've been waiting for the rules to relax a little bit so they can take full advantage of it. That's the way I think they've been.
I don't think we should wait too long, because they seem to be making new rules every time we make a bit of money. I think we're going off to Australia. Oh, okay, let's ban these games now. It's becoming a slapstick comedy. This, we're off to Australia, making a bit of money, change the rules so we can't even go to Australia on a friendly.
Yeah. It's not that we can't go; it's that we can't make it an illustrative competition. Like I said, we should have took advantage of a long time ago, where we go to Saudi Arabia, we play a one-off game, £100 million to the winner, 90 million to the loser. Everyone's a winner when it comes to us. That's what they're trying to stop.
But we know that we're not going to be able to put Aramco on the front of our training kits. Right?
Yes.
I noticed we don't have any car manufacturers, like an Audi or Mercedes or something like that. I wonder if we'll see something like that with the Adidas sponsorship. I wonder if that's a possibility.
It could be.
Well, like Nissan, you mean?
Nissan or there aren't any Saudi car manufacturers, so it doesn't look like something that's run foul of related companies or something. So
yeah.
No. Nissan, I love it.
Wait, was that Nissan or was that Nissan, like the pot noodle company?
Hey, I bet they're loaded. Pot noodles. Everyone loves a pot noodle.
Absolutely.
And what about Greg's? Why don't they pump their money over? The Newcastle fans have spent so much time promoting them. It's about time they pump the money into us.
This is true. I just want to apologise to Lorraine. She's seen me on Twitter, so I apologise straight away. Go on, Dan. You were going to say something.
No. I said there was a long-held belief that Greg should be sponsoring something at Newcastle.
Yeah. Well, Newcastle Brown Hill was another one we would like to see back. There's a good question. It's one that we've pondered a few times on this show, or on this channel, I should say. Do you think they'll rename the stadium in a better way than Ashley? We've obviously come up with a few ideas, like it should be Amrico at St James's Park if they want to do it. I'm all for the name being rebranded as long as it's still got St James's Park in the name somewhere, because we know where the money's going to go to.
Well, that's the point. I don't really care what they call it. They could call it the Boatface Stadium, as far as I'm concerned. As long as the money's going into buying another Bruno once a year, that's fine. Because it's always going to be St James's Park to us anyway, and
of course
that's where it is. It happens to be at St James's Park. So if they call it the Boatface Stadium, that's perfectly all right for me, as long as we get 100 million a year for it.
Can you imagine now for 100 million yen? It's called Boaty McBoatface. And we got to Boaty McBoatface. There's been a goal in the last minute. Oh man, Dan, you seem to be
and Chris Kamara could say, "Really? There was? I don't know, Jeff." So.
Was there? I thought someone was just been going off and being subbed. There's been a sending off. Really? That was comedy gold, that, wasn't it? Lorraine, you're absolutely right. We do need a training kit sponsor, and I'm sure it's something we definitely will do. We'll probably end up with a training ground sponsor as well, the actual ground itself. So I thought someone had a cracking idea on Twitter. I got shot down for saying it was a great idea. But Newcastle should buy Gateshead Stadium and let the women play there. And then let Gateshead play there, of course, as well. So then they could then, stay in the playoffs. I thought that was a great idea.
Desperately sad, that situation. Absolutely,
it is.
Absolutely gutting for these guys. I mean, really, really sad.
But that's not a bad idea, though, is it? If Newcastle buy the ground off the council,
they
can make money off it, couldn't they? They can make money off it, not just from the women playing there. From Gateshead will obviously have to get their share of it. They'll have to rent it.
Strategically, it makes sense.
Yeah. And then you've also got the athletics there and all that sort of stuff that takes part. You can obviously get the cash from that as well, potentially.
Who owns Kingston Park?
We do, I believe. Probably don't. We probably lease the land, but we own.
Well, it's owned by the rugby club, isn't it?
By the rugby team. Yeah.
It's owned by it's the rugby club.
Yeah, but we owned the rugby club at one point, didn't we?
Yeah, but not now. not now.
Oh, no, has it been sold off?
Yeah.
Because under Sir John Hall, we owned the rugby, the football, the ice
think it's
hockey, and the basketball, didn't we?
Seymour Curdy, a gentleman called Seymour Curdy, I believe. So.
Right, that's a shame. But yeah, so there's obviously, yeah, exactly. I did hear a very solid rumor. I don't know if it's still going to come to fruition or not, but our training ground was going to be moved to the racecourse, where obviously the Rubens own a lot of land, and we were going to build a state-of-the-art training facility there in the
It was
future.
interesting. I was talking to somebody, well, just next to the race course actually, recently. I was there a couple of weeks ago, and they reckon the trees seems to be the problem. I have to chop a few trees down. I mean, yeah.
They don't have to chop them down. They can root them up and put them somewhere else. They've got the money to do it.
I'm not sure, but yeah, I like Plan C. I saw that we all saw that video.
Yes,
that looked wonderful.
I've said that for how long, Dan, have I been saying this? Just knock St James's Park down, build it on Leazes Park, then move the park to where St James's Park is. It's not going to make much of a difference. It can be done. The only problem with that, though, is where do we play for the transition period?
Honestly,
the 3 years that it takes to build it.
It's you could put a temporary stadium with a Qatari container somewhere. I don't think in the big scheme of things where we play for a little bit is not that much of an issue. I think
it is for season ticket holders, I'm afraid. I know it's easy for us sitting here who don't go to as many games as and having a season ticket and forking that out. Some people might lose their tickets because of that. It's a tough one. It really is for the fans who the match.
Well, you got a situation in Barcelona at the moment. Now I know a few I've got some family out there in Barcelona, and of course they're out in Montjuic at the moment. In that sort of situation where they're in a reduced capacity, but it's just temporary situation.
But 3 years is a long temporary position to be in, isn't it? That's the only other thing.
I don't think anybody would stomach the idea of a 48,000 seater down the road.
No, I don't think they would stomach having us, to be fair. I reckon the owners would. The owners will probably roll the red carpet out for us.
They already put out the bar. I mean,
I was going to say, the bar was already colored that way. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, the training ground has had an upgrade, but it's still not to the size of a Man City, even a Leicester. They've got amazing training facilities. Palace have. Then you think of the Real Madrids, the Barcelonas, and all them lot as well. There's a lot that needs to be done. Not as long as me, Baz, and we could play St James's Park during the initial phase. Just when they build the replacement Gallagate will impact St James's Park. That's true. I mean, they could build 3/4 of the stand, and then so it might not be as long as we think. It just depends on how it has to go up, though. It depends how the foundation has to be laid for the stadium to go up. That's what you've got to be careful of. I think we're all hoping for an expansion. I just don't know when it's going to be. I want a season ticket as well, but yeah.
I think it'll be. It's got to be quicker than painting the Tyne Bridge, surely.
Oh Jesus, that drove me nuts as well. I gave up my season ticket a few years ago when Rafa left, and it's probably the worst decision I've ever made now, but it was the right decision at the time. That's all the topics covered then. We've got a resounding win from everyone in the chat and also on screen. We all think we're going to batter Sheffield United on Saturday and get back to winning ways, get ourselves in a good position to then go away and beat Burnley. And then we've got the massive one at Old Trafford, which I think will turn Man United over and then steal that 6th place back. I'm not even looking at 5th anymore because there's not even a Champions League spot anymore. So I'm not even interested. Let's just finish 6th.
I heard that we've never been ahead of Man United ever
in the Premier League. No,
I agree.
Yeah, never finished behind them, right behind them a couple of times, but we've never finished above them. So if we can get that monkey off our back, it's a trophy next season. That's how I see it. Come on. Exactly. I'm on night shift tomorrow, so no show. That's why we did it in 2 shows in one night tonight. I will be back for the watch along on Saturday. I might be a bit tired, so try and keep me awake. Hopefully we'll have 5, 6, 7, 8 goals to shout about, and that'll keep me up.
It's a national
every-
day in Holland. It's King's Day. It's like the
Oh,
4th
is
of
it?
July equivalent in Holland that day.
Oh. Well, enjoy it, Charles. Enjoy the weekend. Dan, enjoy and have a safe trip.
I'll take plenty of pictures, plenty of video.
Woo! And hope Monterey Bay win. Fingers crossed. And enjoy the meetup. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Take care, guys.
Good to see you, Charles.
Good to see you, Dan.
Thanks, Baz.
Cheers, Baz. Cheers, bye-bye.